to be just as bad with the various citizens that have harassed people that went down there and did public filming and stuff like that.
Yeah, you kind of had this little weird vigilante film crew. I'm not going to say their name to give them any publicity, but it was a film company, an indie film company that does commercial ads and a bunch of other stuff. They're actually pretty talented, but they came down and harassed folks when they wanted to do a follow-up on this story. And what they don't understand is that it's Nasty Nathaniel and all the other auditors and cop watchers are fighting for the rights of these people that want to shoot these commercial films. You know, when you want to go do some commercial cinematography for a job that you've been hired to do, and you're by a bridge or an important structure like a power plant or something, and you're just trying to, like, you know, you're on an editing schedule, in a shooting schedule, and you've rented equipment that's costing you thousands of dollars a day, and you set up, you know, thanks to Nasty Nathaniel's face on this ground right now, the likelihood of you getting harassed in an area where this stuff was done diminishes. You know, thank you. You know, thank your local cop watcher. Thank your local auditor. You know, people like us risk arrest, risk being shot, risk being beaten up, are harassed by police. You know, there's so much stuff that happens behind the scenes to us that you guys don't even know about, you know. And like, just watching these people, especially a film crew in an indie film company to go and do this is just repugnant. Like, talk about getting slapped in the face by the very people that you're trying to defend their rights, you know.
Well, but I mean, they have that right to do that. I mean,
they do.
That's the thing.
But it's douchey. And being an asshole isn't illegal. If it was, I'd be in prison. I mean, you're right.
Yeah. But, I mean, the thing is, and you see this kind of stuff happening in other places, too. I've seen it happen in, like, the vlogs of Corridor Digital, where they got some kick-ass videos that they produce, and then they have a second channel that does the behind the scenes. And there's several times where I've seen in their behind the scenes where they go out to film at a certain location, and then the police roll up, and they're just filming in a public, like, alleyway kind of thing. And they go, you need a film permit to be over here filming, blah, 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 blah. Well, guess what? They're not actually blocking or closing off the alleyway. People can still move through there. But they don't need a permit unless they're literally closing it down. Public filming and sitting there and filming your antics you don't need a permit for that. Now, if you're going to close it down and kick people out of that area while you're doing the filming, yeah, I view the reason you need to get a permit saying, yes, we're going to rent this area out so we can shoot a video or whatever, a movie. But when you're just sitting there doing an indie thing and you're still allowing people to move through real fast or whatever, to allowing people to pass through, you're not going to be really, you're not blocking anybody, then there's no reason to get a permit. And a lot of times it's like, oh, you need a permit to film this. You need to apply or talk with our public information person or whatever. That seems a little bit out of line for a public place where people are able to stand or go into and talk or converse or whatever, or get actual documentation from a public office inside a building and stuff like that.
See, a lot of these cops get confused between commercial use and, you know, people gathering news. You can gather news content all day long. You're not, you know, planning on making a film and selling the movie. You know, you're not producing commercial content, you know. And there are, like, you know, lots of city ordinances that make sense about, as Bunny just said, you know, if you want to bring a film crew out there and you want to bring soft boxes and light-alls and, you know, have electric lines running up and down the sidewalk and shut the sidewalk down for, you know, 4 or 5 hours while you're shooting, of course, you know. But a lot of cops will just, you know, get on their smartphone or open up their little blue book or whatever and find an ordinance and read through it real quick and then waddle their fat asses out of their cars like a penguin and act. Oh, citizen, you don't have a permit for commercial use. And like, they just need to get educated. You know, that's the point, you know, of activists. I mean, we're here to educate the police. And a lot of times we have to drag them kicking and screaming, and they need to hear a lot of expletives and get ridiculed. But, you know, it's a dirty job, but somebody's got to do it. I mean, somebody has to ridicule cops. Somebody has to call them out when they're acting like bullies and thugs. Someone needs to go out and embarrass them when they're acting like violent children. And that's what they're acting like. Violent children acting out.
Yeah, and the thing is there. I mean, we got this is just showing the bad police, and that's what we do. We go out and we with the First Amendment auditing and testing and the cop watching. We go out. We're just essentially what we're doing was we're tilling the field and pulling the bad police out, which is the big rocks that are going to interfere with the growing of the crops of having a productive ground. And we're trying to ensure that we're going to have a productive society by making sure, we found a bad officer. Let's expose that. Hey, we got a bad thing here. Put a flag in the ground. We'll come back and remove it, or try to remove it right then and there through through official complaints, maybe a lawsuit or something like that, if that's need to be done. Unfortunately, when it comes to removing bad police officers or just straight up like bad police departments, it's not an easy task. We're essentially trying to remove a really large boulder with a small little hand shovel kind of thing, a dowel or whatever that you use for gardening. That's the kind of stuff that we're working with on this. And I also want to expand. Now, I over this past week, I have learned some further interesting information about how bad Springfield Police Department is. It seems that every single time I talk with some random person in this local area about Springfield, I learn a little bit more about problems that goes on with that police department. And I've gotten word that a whistleblower just recently got a huge settlement out of the city of Springfield for stuff that happened to them. And I'm still got to sit down and do the research on that. I just actually learned about that last night. And that's I'm gonna cover. It seems like the Springfield Police Department is gonna need a lot of work. They're gonna need a lot of activism to hopefully get them where they're working right and not violating people's rights. But
hey, Lucy, you got some explaining to do.
Oh yeah, there's definitely gonna be some explaining to do. I know with Mike Bluehair, it's been an ongoing thing with Portland there. Portland's got a lot of problems with their police department.
Yeah. Portland is under a great amount of scrutiny by the Department of Justice because of high-profile police murder. Then officers Christopher Humphreys and Sergeant Nice, now Kyle Nice, beat James Chassie Jr. to death. It was a schizophrenic man who was living in a low-rent hotel at downtown Portland, Oregon, and he ran from the police, and they claim he was urinating in public, and his punishment for public urination and running was to have, his ribs were broken in more than 20 places. He had, spinal damage. He was beaten unconscious. When medical showed up to try to render medical aid to him, I believe it was Kyle Nice. Officer Nice waves the medical off saying, this guy's a junkie. We deal with him all the time. And he encouraged them not to treat him medically. This was like right in the middle of the day in downtown Portland, Oregon. So they hog tie him. They tie his ankles together and his wrists behind him and load him in the car. He's bleeding all over the car. There's images. If you research this out on the interweb, you can find the images of the inside of the car. It's just blood on the walls, on the windows, all over the seat. When they take him in, when Humphreys and Nice take him into Multnomah County Injustice Center, that's what I call the MCDC, or Multnomah County Detention Center, he gets there and the jail nurse takes one look at the guy and says, "This man's going to die. Take him to the hospital." And there's film of it where like he's had all these multiple ribs broken, and there's film from inside of the jail of them carrying him like a side of beef